Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I am Miss Bliss, and this is Journey to Bliss. Is this the year of the snake? I believe so. Year of the snake. All right. Well, apologies for my tardiness. I had some really good news, and I had a really good conversation with someone, and all I could say is just it's just all love. It's all positivity, and life is beautiful. Okay. All right, moving forward. Uh, the last show, I asked everyone to do a divination reading only because I think it's a good idea if people do their own due diligence, do their own research, look into things, and get confirmation for their own safety, their own security, their own resourcefulness. So, some people did ask me, what is a divination reading? So I advise a divination reading is when someone can do a coffee reading where they actually pour the coffee out of the cup and they read whatever spiritually signs that they see within the cup. You could use a crystal ball. Some people actually use water. You can do divination readings via water. Some people use tarot cards. These are ways that spiritual practitioners, spiritual teachers can look into something to see what actually is going on and to confirm just what's going on in life. You can even look at the future, look at yourself. So whatever you're looking for. So with this video, again, I'm going to advise that people do some type of divination reading. You can confirm anything that I'm saying. I absolutely recommend you do this because what I'm going to say tonight is going to be heavy. Tonight is special, as this evening I will be sharing everything. And I mean everything that I could possibly share within this short time frame, because I have to go back to speak to the person that I was speaking to, because it's such a beautiful opportunity. So I did say 9 o'clock, so I'm going to do this show and then I'm going to go back to doing what I do in life. So greetings. Happy to hear your side of the story. Yes, it's always my side, their side, and the side that spirit sees. Nonetheless, this is why you would do a divination reading, right? Good evening, dear Bliss. Good evening. How are you? Glad you're speaking up. Yes, thank you. Hey, Bliss, honey, this is a well-needed conversation. All men, wow, shaking my head, sending love. Yes, all men. What else? High vibe energy, love you, Bliss. Stay positive, hon. Shaking my head. These men claim to love women. Yeah, well, I guess it's sort of an interesting way to look at that now, isn't it? Good people exist, sending high vibration energy your way. The situation is over. Glad you're over it and moved on. Yes, honey, I have moved on, moved out, and when I tell you I'm good, life is good. Yes. But this is my way of giving closure to the matter, and giving closure to people who are watching, because I know people have a lot of questions, people that I don't communicate with, people that I don't speak to. Some of them don't have closure, or some of them haven't spoken to me in a while. Some of them watch the videos, some of them don't watch the videos, some of them are listening to gossip. So this is just my side of the story, and just to present closure regarding the situation, because all of this is pretty much over. So, little flower, my dear Bliss, you are a wonderful person. Stay loving, stay beautiful. Don't let anyone tell you to dim your light. No, honey, no one's dimming my light over here. I'm shining bright. Pretty kitty cat, peace and blessings, Bliss. I definitely listening with an open heart. Thank you so much, you guys. All right, so let's get started because your girl got places to be, people to see, things to do. All right, so tonight's video, know that some people may be triggered, some people may be on the defense, some people may be in denial, some people will ignore this and won't even care. Some people will see clearly. Some people will say, aha. Some people will connect the dots. Some people will say, I knew it. Regardless, I'm speaking up and speaking out. Some people will want to use me as a scapegoat for their choice of being abusive. Some people will regret what they did. Some people want me to overlook their shortcomings and mismanagement of my love. Some people will always be lost. Some people will question why they did this. What was the real reason, considering I've never done anything to any of them? Some people will realize that they were manipulated and participated in group think. Well, it is what it is as far as I'm concerned. They did what they did, and I will tell my story. Ultimately, I am unbothered. Some people will never acknowledge their betrayal or disrespect towards me, and that's okay. I hold no harm, no ill will, no animosity towards them. I move on in love and light. Some people are scared of their karma. Some people are frightened of their own demons being exposed. Some people will want forgiveness, but everyone moved with intentions regarding this particular matter. No one cared about my feelings, my life, my family, my livelihood, or my relationships. People felt like they were God in my life or playing God in my life, like they were able to control my life some way and somehow. Like they had the power to make decisions that directly affected my mental health, my spiritual health, my psychological health, and my financial well being. These people, some of them, not all of them, but some of them were trying to set it up so that I would return to them. My independence and my confidence makes these men feel insecure. They feel unaccomplished when they're around me. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them feel challenged when they're around me. Many refuse to do the work. And then when I say the work, I mean the shadow work, the shadow integration work. But their insecurities are not my problem. And I'm not at all concerned. I'm minding my business, doing me, loving me, nurturing me, and caring for me. Some people are upset because I'm building a life for myself. Some people are disappointed because their plans to destroy me backfired. Now, that's just some people. It's not all people. Because remember, different people are going to feel different ways regarding different situations. And at this point tonight, it's so many people that I'm going to speak about, but it's also people that I'm not going to speak about. So I'm going to generalize a couple of things. And later on, when I provide photos and names, then you have a better idea as to what's going on in regard to that individual. But for the beginning, I'm going to just simply just generalize a couple of things, and you can place those ideas or perceptions wherever you like into the ether. Okay, so let's get started. Truth, honorable, ethics, principle, morals, prudent, authenticity, integrity, sincere values, honesty, genuine wisdom, real talk. Now, there is something called mediators. Working in the law firm, we had judges, lawyers, mediators. A mediator is a person who makes an attempt to resolve a dispute. Now, I found out later from another situation that I will speak about later on in this video that there are mediators, so to speak, in the conscious community. It's not a large group, and I don't think they mediate every situation. I think it depends. Nonetheless, it's not enough of them. Where are the mediators in the Black community who don't take sides based off of gossip? People who present a balanced environment and encourage proper dialogue to resolve issues. Where are the wise leaders you praise and idolize? Who's using discernment and doing their due diligence regarding situations like mine? Where are the open-hearted individuals, people who care about the community, people who want the truth, people who are seeking true unity and peace? I will tell you what's really going on and why you don't see these people actively in the community. It's egos. It is big, humongous egos. Control, envy, jealousy, narcissism, a lack of wisdom or utilizing one's wisdom properly, a lack of discernment, a lack of good judgment. It's incredibly difficult to discuss problem solving when you are around individuals who are constantly trying to sabotage the conversation. It can be frustrating when people lack the tools, the social skills, the emotional intelligence to participate in community dialogue that is needed to heal the community. The gaslighting, the manipulation, the go along, get along gang, the gatekeepers, the wingmen, all of these people, they stick together, even if there's wrongdoings. So one of the reasons that men like this may stick together is because at one point, another one of them could have been doing something that was inappropriate and they received support from other men. And so now it's sort of like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So It's a little bit of that going on, but a lot of the ego going on, a lot of the manipulation and gatekeeping. So no one is really seeking justice. Justice is not really a concern in the Black community. Only justice that people really concern is when they're speaking about another culture, another group, someone who's not your complexion. It's the idea that all of these types of people who don't look like us are against us. The idea that the United States government or the city or the state or the mayor or the Senate are all against you. No one's really acknowledging the fact that it's a lot of people that really look like you that are against you. And so, even though some people admit this, yes, you have some people who will talk about this, who will admit this, but they are talkers, they're presenters, they're speakers, they're not doers, they're not action takers. Thus, they don't protect you or anyone around you. So, having balance within the community is really not a goal with a lot of these people because everyone simply wants to be popular. When you're the idea that when you are popular, you have a huge following, everyone sees you, you kind of feel like, I guess you feel like a superstar, maybe. Well, you don't exactly feel like Michael Jackson or Jay-Z or one of these guys. But the more people who follow you on social media, the more popular you become, the bigger your ego can get. And the bigger your ego gets, the more you feel like you are in power or you feel like you're in control. But this is an illusion because you're just popular. And so it's a lot of confusion with this. So everyone wants to be popular. Everyone wants to be controlled. But simply the reality is that some people are just a personality. Some people just play a character. This is all connected to them being presented in a certain light. They want you to believe that they are leaders. Some people are performers. They they know. You see, dancing, kind of like that old school shucking and jiving, the tap dancing. Life is a show, and you watch the show, you watch the social media. Everything is a performance. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. No judgment, but you just need to see the truth of it. When people on social media, you don't see the real person. Everyone is acting a certain way. And so what you see is a part of them. To really know a person, you have to be around them for a certain amount of time and spend time with them and get to know them, know their family, know what they like, what they don't like, what they love to eat. Are they taking psychedelics? Are they dating? Like all of this stuff. Where do they live? How do they live? All of these things are intricate details about knowing someone behind the scenes. Because social media, you don't see the real person, and that's the truth. So, if this is their role, then where are the people in the community who foster love and balance, who are objective during judgment? Who are the people who carry the emotional intelligence required to deal with these overgrown egos? Where are the people who command that we move with our heart space and our intellect? Why are we dragging people through the mud with gossip and slander? Why do we allow someone to paint the narrative of a person you don't know deeply? Or better yet, you haven't gotten their side of the story. These one sided competitions, these one sided stories embellished with lies, twisted entanglements, and decorated with envy and hate. We're the people who foster healthy communication. We're the people who ensure a loving environment while we hash out differences or speak about sensitive topics where egos are bruised. Brothers and sisters, stay with me now because I'm about to show you why you don't see true community, why women are truly not protected, why you don't see the community moving forward with true success. I mean, real success. Now, it's funny because people scream unity, or shall I say, Ubuntu. Did you know that there's no unity or Ubuntu without love? There's no unity or Ubuntu without desire to cultivate one another. There's no unity or Ubuntu without proper dialogue of what the community needs, or better yet, what we as individuals need, because we all require different things. There's no unity or Ubuntu without care, because when you care about people, you consider their feelings. Ultimately, what these people have done to me, they would not want done to them. They wouldn't like it if the shoe was on the other foot. Therefore, they have no empathy for me or this situation. Now, some are getting their ass handed to them. And I know they don't like it, but this is their karma. This is what they have created for themselves. Greetings, Vic Vic 281. How are you, sis? Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Yes. Okay, guys. So, as you know, in my previous videos, we were talking about people who were pursuing me. I guess you could say spiritually, gossip, slander, all of that, physically trying to attack me, unalive me, etc., etc., etc. Look at the previous videos to get details. Because this video, we're going to talk about who else was involved, who else played a role, whether they knew they were playing a role or not. I know that people are watching my videos from the conscious community because they're calling me and they're talking. Boy, you guys sure gossip a lot. So I'm really too busy right now. So a lot of the phone calls I haven't been able to take, but I do get the text messages and I have been reading them and I do try to respond. But I'm busy focusing on me. I'm busy having beautiful, beautiful relationships. So yeah. Okay. So shit is hitting the fan for those who came against me for no good reason other than to control me or cause me to bow down or submit or run back to them due to the fear or anxiety they attempted to project on me. And yet, here I stand, Miss Bliss, a little on the thick side, ride or die, one man woman, heart still open, still loving, still caring, still nurturing, still having fun and enjoying life full of abundance and joy. So here's the issue. People want to be me instead of enjoying their own journey. People want to be in my shoes, but don't want to endure my pain, my heartbreaks, my tears, my being uncomfortable in certain situations, my shadow work in the basement, my integration, working through all of my trauma and my drama. They don't want that part, but they just want the light, to be in the limelight, the sunlight, the success. But I work hard for everything, every single relationship, every single business relationship, every single friendship, every single family, every single job, everything that I have in my life that is success, I work extremely hard for. Nothing is laid in my lap like it's easy. But people want to be in my shoes, but they don't want to endure my pain. People want to copy me, but don't want to do the shadow work. People want to project on me all their insecurities, but no one wants to heal childhood trauma. And I'm fully aware of who these people are. Yesterday, I was just thinking about the word authentic, and how it's hard to find people who are. Girl, you've been looking for authentic people too? So have I. And let me tell you, there are authentic people out here. They are few and far in between. And you have to take a little bit of time to get to know them because eventually they will reveal themselves. The thing about being authentic, people hold it against you. People like, look at what I'm going through right now. Because I'm honest, I'm truthful, I'm authentic. I say it like it is. But I'm also an empath. So I'm always trying to be loving and nurturing, and I'm always trying to consider other people's feelings. And so I have to kind of adjust all of that and be more concerned about, myself. So what is this? Sure, they socks off them. Sue they socks off them. Google your state's pattern jury instructions for a defamation lawsuit for libel and slander under defamation. Nigel, I don't really care about it, to be honest with you. So I want to say to you, Nigel, that the reason I started doing these videos was because of them trying to unalive me. I I could care less, because the words don't hurt me. The gossip and the slander, it doesn't affect me. If people are gonna rock with me, they're gonna rock with me. People in this society, in this world that we live in, people are gonna like you or they're not gonna like you. But what really, really got me was when they were trying to unalive me. I'm like, people who don't even know me was coming for my throat. Like, and then they felt like this is the idea that they thought that if they could unalive me, they could somehow do some type of spell work to take my place, to destiny swap. And I'm like, destiny swap for what? Do you know how hard this is? They have no idea like how difficult, life is, okay, cool, because you're a winner. Oh, thank you, Nigel. Mwah. Nigel and Vicky, I love you guys. Oh, everybody, wholesale, Dab Investments, all you guys, sending love. Okay, so I asked this question. So will the real community leaders stand up? You see, in this world, we all have a choice, right? We have options. We can make a decision. I'm talking about everyone who's an adult, by the way. I'm not talking about 16, 17, 18-year-old people. I'm talking about grown adults. I'm talking about people who were, 40, 50, 60. I think one or two of them, maybe around close to 70. People who you would expect, who are also spiritual people, who are also leaders and teachers, but people who you would expect to be in the position to cultivate a lot of people in the community who would utilize their wisdom. So hang in there with me, guys, because I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna break it down for you. So in this universe, in this world, we have options. You would think that in a community like this, Huhala, Unity, and Ubuntu, that there would be some level of empathy. Empathy for me. Empathy meaning they put themselves in my shoes. Some type of respect for my humanity. Diana Farr is constantly talking about that. We can choose to be loving and supportive. We can choose our partners. to cultivate each other, to actively be working and nurturing and tending to everyone with care to bring about growth and purpose. Or you can do what you've been doing, or do what popular leaders have been doing. You can project, reject, fight, argue, block each other's blessings, continue to gossip, as opposed to plot, plan, and go against your true enemies, your so-called enemies, which I guess you would say, some of you would say is the white man, some of you would say is the government, some of you would say is the senator, some of you may even say it's aliens. But I'm not your enemy. I'm definitely not the one who's your enemy. Whatever it is that you believe is your enemy, are you doing anything about it? Are you building? Are you making connections with powerful people? Where's your empire? I ask again, where's my Malcolm X? Where are my Black Panthers? For I feel that they are hidden amongst you. I feel they may be blocked. I need you to activate and cultivate our community. Rise up, my brothers and sisters, for when you stand tall and strong, the sisters will follow in line, as it is you that they follow. Trust and believe. From this experience, people preach to you and they teach you that the women need to fall in line, that the women need to change, that the women need to learn. And so we listen to these people because we admire these people. We idolize these people. We believe that everything that they say, we hang on their every word, but we're not sitting and observing. So when I observe all of these men from the conscious community coming at me, I noticed that it didn't start with women. It started with the men. And then the women came after the men, which signifies that they were following the men. So you see, the men, they argue and project to you that they are the leaders of the community, right? But then they twist it somehow to say, when the women get it together, then we'll do what we need to do. That's not what I observed. What I observed was that multiple men were coming for me, trying to project on me, trying to take advantage of me, trying to abuse me emotionally, mentally, psychologically, even trying to send physical attacks towards me. These were not women initiating this. These were all men that I've never done anything to them. All of these men, I've never had an argument with them. I've never cursed at them. All I did was decide I did not want to be around them for things that I'm going to mention later on, what was going on. Now, so back to popularity. So everyone wants to be popular, and they fail to realize that being popular does not equal power. People have confused power with popularity. Social media has created many fake or weak leaders who talk a good game but fail to take action. The followers, the numbers, the idea that if a lot of people watch the video, then that equals power. No, that simply means you are popular. Now, what do you do with that popularity? That dictates whether you actually have power or not. Real power is Malcolm X pointing one finger and causing a whole row of men to turn, and then adjusting that same finger and causing those men to march all in unison. You see, that's not popularity, that is power. Real power is Malcolm X using his wisdom, his discernment, his care, his discipline, his intelligence, and love for the community. Real power is the Black Panthers coordinating, meeting, plotting, planning, and organizing nationwide to ensure shelter, food, protection, and care for the Black community. They too used wisdom, discernment, discipline, intelligence, care, and love for the community. So it's to the point now where I no longer wonder why the Black community lacks true success. I mean, real success that involves people focused on their eternal purpose. Real success in developing deep bonds. Real success in people utilizing their gifts to cultivate others, to inspire others, to serve others in their own personal development as an individual, to inspire spiritual growth, to teach faithfulness and humility, to support honesty and integrity, to activate authenticity within each and every one of us, to expand our wisdom, to use discernment and due diligence. I mean, y'all, let me tell you what's happening. We have right now, and it will continue, and it's more recent than it is in the previous years. We have groups of people that are activating. I'm talking clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairgustance, clairsalience, claircognizance, clairempathy, clairtagency. Many gifts coming, and you're going to need these people. You're going to need their gifts to assist you, to activate you, to cultivate you. But if you treat them the way you have treated me, then they will abandon the ship. They will leave. Why would anyone stay in an environment full of people who are envious, mean, hateful, controlling, refusing to do their own shadow integration, refusing to acknowledge what they did, refusing to self-reflect? You will not have access to these people, and you will not benefit from their gifts, because we are all being tested. Yes, this is one big old school, but it is also a gigantic test. The test is, how will you treat these people when they come around you? Because they're really there to help you. How are you going to treat them? The test is, people who you mistreat are going to be setting the record straight. They're going to be setting boundaries, and they're going to be speaking up. And a lot of them are not going to tolerate it, regardless of what you do. You could try to ostracize them or ban them or go up against them, but a lot of them are going to find their way through it, because I already see this happening to a lot of people who were in the same situation as me, because I'm not the only one. The test is smelling your own mess. The test is knowing your own bullshit. So I ask you again, we're the people who says, nah, brother, we ain't moving like that over here. We're the people who say, nah, sis, you need to do some healing regarding your insecurities. We're the people who calls out injustice and seek truth. People out here stalking, trying to attack people due to jealousy, envy, or because they can't handle rejection. Some of you know these people. Some of you know what they're doing. Well, tonight is reveal night. Tonight, everyone will pull off their masks, including me. So here we go. Now, being around a lot of these people in the conscious community, I've known a lot of these people for years. I used to go to Manhattan and listen to Umar Johnson. Y'all know who Umar Johnson is. I used to go to Manhattan and listen to Umar Johnson speak. I used to go to Harlem and listen to Delbert Blair speak. Like, I've been around a lot of people in this community for a long time. I was a vendor many years ago selling my herbs, my sea moss, my black seed, things that we do in the community, right? And so things kind of changed when I got on YouTube with Hank Risingson on magnets, crystals, and pyramids. So being around a lot of different people and feeling all the energies and taking a hell of a lot of psychedelics, doing a lot of shadow work, growing and having these spiritual gifts activate, and having the ability to call people and get advice and get, guidance from them. It's been a journey, all the way through to Tantra, to alchemy. I mean, to everything. Even now, like the magic and the spells and all of this crap. All of this has been just a journey. Everything is a lesson learned for me. But one of the things that I realized was that not many people cared about me or my well-being. This is me, happy, usually fun, joyful, just having a good time. This is my energy and this is my life. This is how I am. I love to have fun and just be be living life. That's just me. But not many people cared about me or my well-being. People only wanted what they could get from me, whatever that was. My light, my aura, my essence, my money, my positive energy, my love, my support, my enthusiasm for life, my creativity, my humor. However, there was little give back, many takers, but not many givers. The way I was treated was literally inhumane. No one was willing to acknowledge that Miss Bliss, I needed healing too. I needed cultivating. I needed support. I needed love. Most of all, I needed protection. I needed to be treated with care. Diana Farr has been speaking for months about humanity and empathy. Yet this is exactly what people lack when it came to my situation. People need to see that I'm human too. These people have been unkind and greedy and hateful. There was so much confusion over the past 2 years. I watch people lie on my name, manipulate and play games with my life and my livelihood. People try to blackball me, shut me up, ostracize me, isolate me, shut me down, and still I rise. How ironic is it that these are the same individuals who preach that they love women? I'm going to be direct and forthright and say that boundaries have been crossed when it comes to this situation. And I have a right to tell my story. I have the right to speak. The same people who were supposed to protect me were actually attacking me, smiling in everybody's face and behind the scenes, trying to stab me in the back, smiling in the face of people who they thought liked me, but then saying hateful, mean, malicious things to people who they thought didn't rock with me. But there was no way to really tell because the information was getting back to me. Wow. Yeah, exactly. But I still, I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm not in that environment. I moved on. And so I really didn't care about the gossip, whatever they were doing. I was like, it is what it is. People are going to be people. I'm a mature adult and, I went to college. I have family. I have had many of friends of my life. People come and go, people act up, you get closure, you don't, you move on. It is what it is. I don't hold on to it. So I had to protect myself. And trust me when I say heads are rolling right now, heads are rolling. All these people who went against me, honey, do your divination readings. Trust me, they're going through it right now. And this is all because of what they were doing. It really has nothing to do with me. It's all about the choices that they made. They had options, they had choices. They could have just left me alone and let me be and let me move on. But a lot of these people couldn't do it. They just couldn't bring themselves to be mature adults and just to leave me alone. So I have the right to say what's going on my end, to defend myself, so to speak, I guess, right? So no one is supposed to be doing what these people did, especially if they consider themselves to be great, powerful people who portray themselves as leaders or healers. These people are supposed to heal us, guide us, support us, pull our coattail when they see imbalance, stop the bullying and gossip when it arrives at their door. Be courageous and speak out against injustice. These people crossed the line. I had to set boundaries, but I still sat back and observed. I got out of harm's way. I protected myself. I removed myself from the toxic environment. There has been multiple attacks from different people on various levels, all because I chose to leave that negative environment. Not a single person was disciplined for their actions, and I doubt there will be any conversation moving forward, only because I know people who they have sort of done some of these things too. And these people ended up disappearing, banishing, cowering and crying and going in a corner. And so I think, or I feel like they wanted me to respond that way. They never expected me to bounce back, to speak up, to say something, to defend myself, to protect myself. They never expected this. But I don't think anything is going to come out of them acting the way that they act or doing what they do. I think actually they'll continue to do it. That's my feeling. I could be wrong, but we got to see what happens. But this is only because we're dealing with overgrown egos, people who want to be in control, people who seek popularity. We're dealing with narcissistic personalities, people competing with each other and also competing against men competing against me, men encouraging other women to compete against me. Like, I've never seen anything like this in my life, especially in what one would call a spiritual community, a conscious community, who claim they're better than the church, who claim they're better than the Muslims, who claim they're better than the white man, who claim they're better than everyone. And it's so many of them that were carrying on this way. And I was often disappointed, surprised. I felt sorry for a lot of people. It was like a sense of sadness when I witnessed a lot of these things. And so I would often, try to help, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? Help each other. But that's not what they were interested in. These people have a different mindset. So ultimately, I don't see any Malcolm X's or Black Panthers around. These men, Malcolm X and the Black Panthers, they love the Black community. They went out their way to serve the Black community. And let me tell you a little secret. Now, because I know they're watching, I'm not going to say much, but I'm going to mention something. I've been with some people. Let's say that these people are movers and shakers. They are doers as opposed to talkers. And they're watching the situation. They have been watching the situation. The situation is over with. It's dead and over with, but they were watching. And they saw clearly who supported me and who showed me love. Now, I can't say much, but these people are powerful and they are in the position to change lives. I was in the process of bringing them in so we could build, so we could plan, so we could connect, so we could share wisdom. But they sat back in observation, which is what they should do, right? Because these are smart people who are in positions, like I can't mention too much, but they said, wait a minute, Bliss. These are the so-called advanced intellectuals you speak of carrying on this way? No, 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 no. Why would we invest any time, any energy, any money, or anything in a group of adults who act like this. So, say no more. I move on, and they were right. They were right. I wasn't in a position to argue, and I wasn't going to say anything other than what they were admitting, which was they were being honest and they were admitting the truth. So let's be clear about a few things. I'm not bitter. I am disappointed. I'm not resentful. However, I am done. I'm done dealing with people who self sabotage good relationships because they haven't done the shadow integration. I'm done with people who refuse to acknowledge their childish behavior. I'm done with the level of anger and meanness projected due to people's insecurity. For those of you who know me, I am very patient. I give people grace. But when I'm done, I'm done. My cutoff game is strong. And I don't play when it comes to my peace of mind. But some people feel like I should have gotten over this by now. Literally, this is what they feel like. Like get over the lack of loyalty, Bliss. Get over the attempts on your life. Get over the fuckery, the thievery, trying to steal from you. Get over the bullying, Bliss. Get over the gang stalking. Get over the cyberbullying, the attempts to exclude me from groups. I should get over the fact that people tried to banish me and treat me like an outcast when I've done nothing to them. Oh no, don't dwell on the past, Miss Bliss. Get over it. Get over the fact that a whole lot of people came against me, all because of two men. Yes, two men. Two men who I trusted. Two men who, one of them, I spent a lot of time with. And the other one, I barely knew. But these were the two men who took the situation and ran with it, all because I wanted to be in a different environment. I didn't want to be around that anymore. Yep. Two men who constantly and relentlessly pursued me and gossiped about me. Two men who called and spoke to other people about me. Two men who tried to block my success, block my growth, refused to cultivate me on my journey. Two men who love and hate me all at the same time. That's a conundrum. I don't even know how you could do that. But two men who refused to acknowledge what role they played in trying to tear me down. Two men who'll be watching this video because I know they're watching, because I know people are telling them what I'm saying and what I'm speaking about. But you see, they're trying to placate the situation and act like, oh, it's not a big deal. She needs to get over this. Or they're trying to act like they didn't have anything to do with this, or sort of say, well, she didn't come to me. She didn't say anything to me. I don't know what's going on. Right. But they don't know who I am. They don't know who I am. And that's okay. But two men who don't want you to know what they did. Two men who I decided that I no longer wanted to be around. Two men who couldn't let go. They couldn't leave me alone. They couldn't deal with rejection or the fact that they no longer had access to me. Two men who whined and complained about me leaving them and abandoning ship. Two men who told one-sided stories to many, many people. Two men who considered themselves popular, not powerful, but they are popular, and they confuse that with power. Two men who believe in manipulation as opposed to telling the truth. Two men who blame everyone for everything as opposed to self-reflecting. I simply sat back and watched and allowed them to release their pain, spread rumors, make their side of the story attractive, all while playing the victim. I watched them make attack after attack. I patiently waited for them to heal. Or should I say, get over it? Get over the fact that I didn't want to be around them anymore. Get over the fact that you really didn't treat me good near the end of the relationship. And so I couldn't deal with it anymore. And so I had to jump ship. Get over the fact that we had a pretty good relationship. I've never argued with you. I've never had to curse at you. I've never screamed at you. You never did that to me. I just left. So this is the part where I struggle, because the level of hate, the level of like things that were said about me, like I struggle with that, because I'm like, this sound like some street nigga shit. Like, cause I ain't gonna front. Your girl Bliss back in the day, my tongue is sharp. I have no problem letting people know how I get down. I can get down with the best of them. But these two men, I never did that. So I'm wondering where all this vim and vigor and vitality to bring me down and take me down was coming from. Because you don't act this way against the enemies you claim is out here. You don't act this way towards the white man or the aliens or the government or the mayor or the senator or whoever it is you believe is attacking you. So I'm wondering where this was all coming from. So I watched them. And I mean, they never really got over it, because I didn't do to these men what they did to me. I wasn't calling other people or other popular people and advising them not to come on their social media or their YouTube. I wasn't calling other popular people and saying, he left me, he used me, he's bitter, he's angry, all to paint a certain light over them. I just left. I decided to move on. My own relationship, friendship, situationships are not permanent in my eyes. On this journey, we all come and go into each other's lives. We learn, we grow, we heal, and sometimes we move on. But sometimes we stay together for life. And that's the journey, right? The journey is figuring it out. The journey is also being able to let go. The journey is just loving each other, nurturing each other, right? Whether we're together or not. But if it's one lesson that I learned, is to let go with love, to give people space and time to heal, to allow people the opportunity to release pain and acknowledge where that pain is coming from, because that's stemming from childhood trauma. It has nothing to do with me. All of your anger, I had to take time to really sit back and reflect and get my, teachers together and my guides and everything. Like, what is going on here? And we came to the conclusion that it's not me, it's them. It's them in their childhood, it's them in their trauma, it's them refusing to do the shadow work. And I mean heavy shadow work, deep in the basement, because both of these men take psychedelics. And what I learned, shout out to Sifu Oyi's son, shout out to Sincere Seven, shout out to Brother Dooley. What I learned in psychedelics is that you cannot continue to take psychedelics and not do the shadow work, not go in that basement, not go deep down and dig in that hole. You cannot, because all of this is going to kick up and work up, and you're going to be worse than you was before. And all of this aggression towards me, and I never had a physical altercation with these men. I never came at them in any type of aggressive manner. I showed them love. So all of this is them, who they really are. And so I had to accept this, I had to realize that they couldn't let go. And this is This is part of the pain that they endure in childhood that they carried on into their adult lives. But nonetheless, they couldn't move on, and I moved on. So I realized that people hate when you bow out gracefully. Child, I did not know that. Let me tell you, my mama, my mama was like a Southern belle. So she always taught me to do things, to be ladylike. And my father, he was a man. He didn't really, interject on that part. So I was raised that way. And my dad, he did tell me, he said, when you get older, a lot of men are not going to be like me. They're not going to be honorable, respectful, taking care of the family. It's going to be a lot of men who are full of a lot of pain and hurt, and they're not going to address it. They're not going to acknowledge it because they're not going to know how. And my family being part Native American, all the other cultures mixed up in me, but they generally had a way of dealing with a lot of this trauma. And so I realized, while taking psychedelics, that you had to do the integration. And I learned that from Sifu Oyu's son, who invited me down to Texas. He's like, Bliss, you cannot. I repeat, you cannot, sis. Sis, you cannot be sitting up here taking hella psychedelics. And I done took like up to, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 different psychedelics. But the journey has been beautiful. And I have people who guided me. I still have people who guide me, But, and on top of that, when you're doing Tantra, you also have to do integration. So it was people out here taking psychedelics, practicing Tantra, wasn't trained in any of that stuff. And I saw people being hospitalized, guys. I saw people being admitted in the psychiatric ward in New York City. And I was like, wait a minute, whoa, what is going on here? I didn't know about integration. I didn't know about shadow work. I had no clue. And then that's when I went down to training and I learned a lot. And I was like, OMG. If I would have known now what I knew then, I could have probably helped those people because that's my mentality. That's my mindset. But I got stories for days. I got psychedelic stories for days. All right, so now back to these two men. I guess you could say one of them missed me too much. And maybe that's why he was acting the way that he was acting. I mean, I'm not trying to write it off like it was okay because it was not okay. But we were close. We were tight. The other one, he didn't know me. He didn't know me well enough to attack me the way that he did. That I think is something else going on. But he doesn't know who I am. He didn't spend a lot of time with me. He doesn't know my family. He doesn't know what I like, what I don't like. He doesn't know, so I had some type of obsession, infatuation going on with him. No. So really no excuses for this type of behavior for adult mature men. But they both wanted to end me in one way or another, whether that is or was, because this is past tense, or whether that was to end my life, end my social status, or my career, or end my social media. You see, both of these men knew that if I created a decent following, then people would see the real me, the authentic me, the genuine me, the honest me. And they wouldn't have that. They couldn't have that because it would make them look like liars, you see, because I left. So they had to stop me. They had to figure out a way to block me, how to shut me down. And so they went hard. They went hard, y'all. They went hard at work. You see, this is when they went into full attack mode, waging an all-out war against little old me. By myself, Attack after attack, verbal attack, spiritual warfare, slander my name, even if they can get me, physical attacks, bullying, encouraging others to go along and do the same. That is another part I don't get. Can nobody call me and be like, Bliss, let's go against so and so? And I'm like, what? No. What's going on? What is going on? I've always been like that. Can nobody call me and be like, yo, let's do some unalive magic for somebody that I don't know if I never met? Can nobody call me and tell me that, oh, let's go take something from somebody I don't know that I never met? No, nobody can convince me. So I realized the mentality of a lot of these people. These people were having a mob-like mentality, trying to encourage a mob to come against me. Lots and lots of people, plenty of phone calls. And I'm hearing all of this through the grapevine. And I'm like, all right, this is getting a little bit out of hand. Y'all need to calm down. Gathering women to go against me, because remember, this is initiated by men. This was not initiated by women, but they were encouraging women to compete against me. I mean, like silent competitions that I didn't even know about, some of them outright in competition, but I'm in competition with myself, not with anyone else. But they would gather men and talk about me to convince the men to dislike me, try to destroy my character. All the while, I'm just sitting back watching them, not saying a word. But you see, people like this don't know when to stop. They have no boundaries. They don't respect others. It's all about them and what they want, regardless of how they treat you. You're supposed to stick around and accept and submit to any type of abuse, whether it is verbal abuse, mental abuse, manipulation, physical abuse, psychological abuse, etc., etc., etc. You are just supposed to endure it. But that's not right, actually. And it's not okay. You see, I've been quiet for a long time. So long that they felt entitled to disrespecting me. They had done this so long that they felt like, hey, she ain't gonna say nothing. We can kick her around like she's a football on the floor. And I was like, okay, we gotta do something here. They were teaching others that bullying and manipulating and even taking a life was okay. Bliss is a nobody. We don't need her. We will build without her. Bliss will never amount to anything. She needs us. She will never survive. All while behind the scenes, these two men did their best to make all of that come true. I would not have had a problem. I pretty much didn't have much of a problem because I avoided them. But they were trying to create these situations to put me in a bad environment, to cause me to return back to these people in the conscious community. Make it make sense, y'all. They work hard to make those scenarios come true, trying to use all of their resources to punish me and torture me and make me feel alone, acting as if I was the problem, acting as if I did all of those things that they did to me, that I actually did those things to them. Like I was going to make a phone call to say, don't go on so-and-so's YouTube channel. I could care less. I'm doing me. Like I was going to sit in a group of people and say, Bliss is dirty and she's a trifling heifer and don't try. I could care less what other people are doing. I'm doing me. So they were acting as if I did something to them. All I did was leave. Now, one person I bowed out gracefully and gently told him that he's not for me, and I didn't feel it would work. I kept my real feelings to myself to save his ego, which now I realize I should have never did that. I knew immediately that he was superficial, self-serving, selfish, greedy, shallow, but I didn't tell him that. And I probably should have let his ass have it. Now that I see the way that he was carrying on. The other man, however, I just blocked him. That's right. I bounced, I left, I blocked him. Nope. I didn't give him closure. Nope. I didn't give him the opportunity to have a discussion about why he was acting like a jerk. Now, all right, y'all. Listen up. Upon self reflection on myself, and of course, holding myself accountable, I could have handled the situation a little better with giving him a little closure, maybe a conversation, but the energy was way off. And I'm going to explain to you guys what was going on and why um, the person that I spent a lot of time with, the person that I felt was loyal to me and I was loyal to him, the person that I had a very, very tight bond with, the person that I felt secure and actually safe around, the person, you know, where we would share stories and intimate details. Why I didn't give him closure, why I just blocked him and I bounced. I was like, fuck it, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to explain that to you as we go on. So I could have used my usual technique. Aha, that's right. I have a way of dealing with certain men, not all, don't get carried away, not all of them, just certain men where I can allow them to see a different perspective regarding a toxic situation. I I can help them see things from a different angle in order to keep the peace. And this particular man, I got pretty good at it because, you know, before I was chilling with him, he has a reputation. And I know y'all don't know because everyone is on social media, you know, being a personality. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. But nonetheless, he had a reputation. So, but it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. But I could help him see things from a different angle. People always, when I left, people told me, "Oh my God, Bliss, like, why did you leave?" Because he's changing back to his old self. And they would call me and say that, you know, when you were around him, he was much more considerate, much softer. He was different. And I was just like, "Oh, thank you for acknowledging that. Okay, see you. Gotta go." And then that was that. So I realized what I was doing was helpful and useful and that it worked. And pulling away my energy immediately and quickly might have been some sort of shocking jolt to him. So, but no excuses, right? But I was fed up with the madness going on behind the scenes. I mean, it got to the point where I wasn't just dealing with one man attacking me. It was multiple men suddenly becoming more and more aggressive and disrespectful towards me, all with no remorse, no regret. And sometimes the other men would encourage it, all while the whole time, nonstop, consistently, on a regular basis. The other guy was doing spell work, sending witchcraft towards me, sending witchcraft towards anyone that he saw on social media with me. Now, at the time, my gifts were not fully activated. I really didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why these men were acting this way towards me. Like really becoming very angry, very aggressive, very argumentative. Like literally like some of them was like trying to curse me out. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? What is going on here? But this guy, he's straight in the background, you know, steady doing spells, voodoo, hoodoo, incantation, all their rituals, you know, coming to my house, giving my address to other people, having other people come to my house, dropping off stuff, watching me, seeing if I'm coming, if I'm going, doing disloyalty spells towards anyone who came on my YouTube channel. I was like, OMG. This is getting out of hand. I could see that I had to leave the environment completely because there was no ability to have a mature conversation because nothing was going to get done. And the men who were doing this didn't see anything wrong with what they were doing, or didn't see anything wrong with what the guy who was doing the spells were doing, didn't see anything wrong with anybody who was a man was doing. So it's kind of like they were all, hugging up together and camaraderie and, the wingmen and the cosign. And I'm just like, wow. And I'm observing this and I'm like, okay, well, time for me to abandon ship, time for me to leave, time for me to get out of Dodge. I had no problem doing that because it was for my own safety and for my security. So let's backtrack a little bit because I want to give you guys a little bit of history because I know I've spoken about this before. So I'm going to quickly do a run through. So back in 2023, many of you know that Hank Risingson and I managed a group chat of approximately 1,000 people that we had to shut down due to someone trying to do some type of financial scams. So we had to shut it down. But in this chat was the guy who advertised that he was selling a product. I called Hank Risingson first. I was like, is this guy safe? Is he secure? Is he trustworthy? Blah, 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 blah. Risingson was like, yeah, go ahead. You can buy from him, blah, blah, blah. No one in the conscious community had my address. I purposely did not give people my address because I don't know people like that. But since he was delivering it and I got the code that he was good, he got my address. Woo, was that a big mistake? He drops off the product. He then pursues me, asking me out again and again and again. And as you know, the story goes, I went out with a date. There was no sexual intercourse. No, I did not, thank God, do anything of any type of sexual encounter with that man. So I guess it was about maybe, like I said, 2 months of back and forth. And he doesn't live in New York City. He lives in Philadelphia. And he would come every 2 weeks to sell his product. And I traveled a lot, so I never even saw him every time he came to New York City. I'd say maybe in a total of 2 months, maybe I saw him like 4 times. So there's no way he could be in love with me. There's no way he could be obsessed with me. There's no way. It's it's definitely the spell work that he was doing, because the way spells work is if the energy is not going towards the person that you're sending it to, it's got to go somewhere. So now him and the women, the girl that he was doing the spell work with, are now obsessed with me. They're infatuated with me. She's trying to copy me, trying to be me. I mean, all of this spells with destiny swap. It's just chaos and mayhem, which they're going through right now. So I did at one point see 3 demons around the sky. And I didn't tell him because at the time I really didn't know what was going on. And I was advised to never tell anybody when you see stuff like that. And I learned later on, no, Bliss, this is one of your gifts. You have to share this with people. You have to let people know. And my fear is that I'm going to scare the hell out of people. People going to be running. But shout out to Brother Dooley, by the way. He was like, Bliss, don't you ever, ever, ever hold it in. Tell him. Sending love to Brother Dooley. Yeah. So yeah, that I don't walk around and just spit it out. But if I'm working with someone, yeah, I tell them. But yeah, I also felt like a negative feminine energy around him. I didn't know if it was a family member, a sister, or his mom or something. I didn't know he was with a woman or had a girlfriend or wife or, multiple women. I didn't know none of this stuff because he didn't reveal this. I just knew that he just wasn't for me. So I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. And then he went in aggressively with obsession spells, attraction spells, dropping little voodoo trinkets at my house and working with another woman. And I asked him, like, this is not cool. And he, tried to talk some spiritual stuff. Nobody has light that nobody else has won, and you don't have anything that we don't need, that we ain't already got. Like, I was like, you know what? You're full of crap. I'm gonna block you, and I'm gonna kick you out of the group chat. And then I'm gonna call Hank Rising Sun and tell him that you're stalking me and what you're doing. And so he didn't give a damn, right? He didn't care. He wasn't intimidated at all. And I did that, and I called Hank Rising Sun and I told him. And so eventually he called Hank Rising Sun and tried to get back into the chat. And Hank Rising Sun's response to him was, that is between you and Bliss. That situation is between you two. Hank didn't say, leave her alone. He didn't say, let me find out the truth. He didn't say, let me tap in and use my spiritual gifts to see the truth. He didn't say, let me get an objective person to do a divination reading. He didn't make any attempt to keep the peace or resolve the issue. He did admit, however, that he already knew this guy was a stalker regarding another woman prior to me. So he already had a reputation of doing this. Hank Rising Sun admitted this afterwards. Now the guy is kicked out the chat. So he's feeling some type of way, maybe emotional, angry, whatever. So, he going in now on the spells. He's gathering people to go against me. He's like doing spells against my friends, spells against my relationships, spells to try to disconnect any connections that I have with anyone, sending spells. He even sent spells to Hank Rising Sun to cause him to act a certain way towards me. He used information against Rising Sun that he was fully aware of. For example, Rising Sun has a reputation of being sort of angry. He'll lash out at people. He'll sabotage relationships. He doesn't have the skill set to resolve his own problems, and therefore projects his hostility on others. The fact that his spiritual gifts aren't advanced enough to recognize when someone is putting witchcraft on him was revealed because a woman years ago, there was this woman that Hank Rising Sun was around, and I don't know why she did this or what her motive was, or I just don't know why these people do these things. But nonetheless, this woman sent some heavy, strong, powerful Santeria magic to Hank Rising Sun. And Hank Rising Sun didn't know it was on him. And so I kind of struggle with that too, because I'm like, how is it I could see it, hear it, feel it, know it? I can tell you which spell they're doing. I can tell you who they're doing. And I was like, how you don't know? But he didn't know for whatever reason, So how he found out was he did a Kambo ceremony, and he took an extremely large amount of Kambo, like an abnormal amount of Kambo medicine. If any of you have taken Kambo medicine before, woo, Kambo is not something you want to take a large dosage of. But his spirit must have been speaking to him to do this. And so he did it. And that is when he found out that this woman, she sent these spells towards him. Maybe it was more than one spell that had piled up on him. And so because he never knew that she was doing it, he never knew how to defend himself, or maybe he never knew how to protect himself against the spells. I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that's what she did. He didn't know it until he took the Kambo. So then I thought about it. So how would he know if this guy is sending any spells towards him? Because he didn't know that this woman was sending all this stuff to him anyway. Empress Oya, who is this character? What? Who is what character? Empress Oya. Who is what character? What character are you talking about? Let me know, Empress Oya. What character are you talking about? What character are you speaking of? Enlighten me. Share with me. Let me know. Okay. So that's how he figured it out. So so I began to realize that not everyone knows when spell work is thrown at them or the evil eye. And I was like, oh wow. So people's gifts were not activating. And so part of the reason mine was activating was because I was going hella in, y'all. Like when I say I was going in, in on the tantra, in on the psychedelics, doing the work, doing the integration, doing the shadow, doing the research, doing the studies, do boom, 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 and I'm knocking it out the box. It got to the point where I was having experiences, and people were just like, how do you know that? Like, I'm gonna have to do story time with all of these experiences that I was having, and people was like, I was telling them, you know, like, I see like a being around you, like one of the brothers, I was doing a tantra session with him, and he had this being around him, and it wasn't human. And when he got off the tantra table, I didn't know how to tell him, but I remember Brother Dooley saying, "Bless you, God, you can't be holding this." And I was like, I don't want to scare people. So I'm like, yo, bro. So like this is being on you, around you. And I begin to describe it to him. And I'm like, the eyes are shaped like this, and the head is da-da-da. And he jumps off the table. He pulls out his cell phone. He goes, "Bless, does it look like this?" And I was like, "Yeah. How'd you know?" He's like, "Yes, thank you. Thank you. I've been talking to it." And I'm like, what the fajisi? What the helly? What the hellion? What the hell? And he's happy. He's so excited. And everybody's in the tantra practice session. They're like, "Bliss, how did you know?" And I'm like, wait a minute. The question is, how come you didn't see it? Because I'm thinking everybody's doing the same thing that I'm doing, and everybody's activated like I'm activated. And then I realized we're all on a different journey, and we all don't see and hear and feel and think. We're all different. And so I was like, well, I just saw it, and it just showed itself to me, because I figured it could hide if it wanted to, right? I don't know. But he was so happy. He was like, this being was communicating to him. It was like, it was telling him stuff. It was guiding him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I was like, what? I mean, y'all, it's things like that. Things like that were happening. So I realized that somewhere along the line, Hank Rising Sun wasn't fully activated, to be able to see what was going on and know what was going on. And maybe this has to do with doing shadow work, because you can't go to the next level if you don't do the healing on that level. So let's say, for example, you have your shadow work is 6 floors, a 6-floor building. And so you start at the 6th floor. You don't start in the basement, because in the basement is where you hide all of the crazy stuff, right? So you start on the 6th floor, then you go down to the 5th floor, then you go down to the 4th floor, then you go all the way down to the 1st floor, and then that's where everybody stops. People don't usually go down in the basement, because the basement is dark. That's where the boogeyman is at. That's where the scary shit is at. That's when people stop. And so if you're not willing to go to that next level, how can you keep taking psychedelics? It's not going to work. Eventually, you're going to have some type of explosion, emotional explosion, a mental explosion, a psychological explosion. I don't know. But there's no integration and release and activation as to why you're doing certain negative things, certain toxic things, why you are having certain experiences in your life, as opposed to having joy, abundance, peace, bliss, prosperity. And you won't know why. So if you don't know why, then you can't address it. So that's why I look at this isolation, as good, because I was able to do hella integration. I was able to go in deep, and I mean deep down into the basement, y'all. Not only when I was on the basement, I dug up the ground in the basement. I was going down. I wasn't playing. I didn't come here to play. So I said I was going to try to keep this short. I really don't like to be on talking this long, but I wanted to get this video out and I wanted to get it done. So people had this information because Rising Sun shares it. He's open about it. He speaks about it. But they were using all of this information against him to set him off, to activate him. And he didn't realize it. I didn't realize that. I knew something was wrong because Hank Risingson and I were very close, like two peas in a pod. And so for him to, near the end of our friendship, to start to act this way, and I mean like extremely aggressive, it was like, what is going on? Like, I don't even want to know. I'm out of here. I'm done. Dunzo for the gunzo. I'm out. Oh, the stalker. Kara Jacobs, facts. Exactly. Yes. So the stalker is the guy from Philadelphia. Well, anyway, I guess that's where he's still living at. I don't know if he's still even living at the place where he was living at. That's a whole nother story. But let me tell you something. In the conscious community, there isn't a single man in the conscious community who could say that I targeted him, harassed him, or tried to tear him down, that I tried to block his blessings. I have never had an argument with Hank Rising Sun. Like I said, we never, came to, some type of anger. Like I would see the anger in him and I would kind of observe. I wouldn't argue back with him or be hostile. I would be like, what is going on here? I would be frustrated because I'm wondering what is going on here. This is not him. I mean, I've seen him like this with many people. Trust me. I've seen him go in and often I would calm the situation down because he was never around people who would encourage him to calm down. There was a lot of people around him who loved the chaos, who loved the toxicity, who thrived off that shit, who was excited. Not me. I'm like, whoa, nah, let's look at it from another angle. Let's see if we can, recapitulate this situation and adjust it as opposed to causing some type of harm to our brothers and sisters because there might have been a misunderstanding with Hank Rising Sun or a disagreement. That's how I would choose to deal with it if I was there around him, if I saw him getting into a situation or toxic situation with another person. I would try to, add water to it and put the fire out. So I never had an argument with any of these guys. Never screamed at them. They never screamed at me, Hank Rising Sun never screamed at me. He was getting aggressive though. He was sabotaging events and certain shows and stuff that we were working together on, and I kind of got fed up with it. So, and when they saw this coven, these witches, these warlocks, these groups, these masons, these all of these people that they were gathering, when they saw that I left, that I didn't want to be around like all of this craziness, and then I bounced. This is when they celebrated. This is when they were drinking. This is when they were partying. This is when they were slapping each other 5. This is when they were laughing. Oh, y'all, it was hella laughter. Hella laughter when these people thought that their witchcraft was working. That when these people thought that they had successfully caused some type of separation between me and Hank Rising Sun, or me and anybody who was supposed to assist me and cultivate me on my growth. Oh yeah, they were like, now they thought they had isolated me. They had me alone. Now they can unalive me. Rising Sun wouldn't care because he's now mad at me, or maybe he's upset at me or whatever. I don't know, because I blocked him. I never gave him closure, um, and because um, now everyone is on demon time. Now Hank Rising's son is on demon time. He's like feeling some type of negative way towards me. This guy is still on demon time. He's got this whole group all on demon time. And so it's like on fire, right? Multiple people come into my house, multiple spells, over 40 spells. Check out that video. Over 40 spells. Like, I think I probably didn't mention the last 6 or 7 or 8, but yeah, over 40 spells. So after that, I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna be on my own, and I'm gonna work on myself with self-care, self-love, self-healing, do deep shadow work, go within, and be around people who I feel like are projecting love and cultivating me and nurturing me and supporting me. And that's what I decided to do. So once I did that, I began to see Hank Rising's son targeting me. But it was a different type of targeting. So what Hank Rising's son did was, I was still in the chat, right? And he was bringing this guy who was stalking me back into the chat. And so I saw that and I was like, oh my goodness. I said, okay, well, you know what? It is what it is. So I told everyone in the chat, and I was like, look, guys, I am grateful for this journey. I appreciate you. I love you all. I wish you well, but I'm going to leave this chat right now. And I left. I didn't tell people the story because I was like, it is what it is. I ain't stressing it. I ain't sweating it. And so I left the chat. And after I left the chat, I felt good, right? And so then Hank Rising's son did a YouTube video with this guy, a short. It was a short, And so I could still see a lot of Hank Rising's son's videos popping up, on my phone, because at the time I didn't block him. I didn't think that Hank Rising's son would try to torment me or send subliminal messages towards me that he maybe thought would sort of intimidate me or affect me. I didn't think he would start doing this. So he did the video after he brought the guy back in the chat. He did the video of the guy, and I was like, okay. I said, so you're trying to show me that you guys are comrades, you guys are wingmen, you guys are getting along. So I'm not included. Okay, fine. I let it go. I wasn't stressing it. No hate, no animosity. I'm moving on. It is what it is. So, but this guy also considered this as part of his celebration, because now he's touching Hank Rising's son. So part of the spell work that some of these people do is they need to get near someone. They need to touch someone. They need to be able to put something on that person. And I was like, you know what am I going to say now? It's a done deal. And I didn't recognize it at the time because I didn't even know what was going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. I work a full-time job at a law firm. I have my family, I have my friends, I have multiple businesses on the side, I have a YouTube channel. This guy is doing spell work, stalking me, giving out my address. Then I got Hank Rising's son now doing this on YouTube. And I'm like, it's just too much. It's just too overwhelming. I don't want to be around these people. I don't really want anything to do with these people. But Hank Rising's son got to work really quick with calling people about me, calling other popular people about me, talking about me, telling people that I used him for his popularity, that I used him for his channel. And so I kind of was like, I don't think that's true. I kind of feel like it was fair exchange, no robbery, because you used my energy, my aura, my essence, my beauty. We analyzed your channel before I came on. You had 10,000 followers. When I left, you had 18,000 followers. Your followers grew by 8,000 people. My YouTube channel had 300 people. I don't see that YouTube blew me up. I still don't have, 10,000 people. My YouTube channel didn't blow up. So how am I using you when your channel grew by 8,000 people when I left? Now, so I didn't connect the dots. On top of that, I was doing all of those advertising videos for Hank Rising Sun on his channel. Those videos were not free. That's just my creativity. It's just something that I love to do, and I still do them. So I'm like, so how do you think that I used you? You know, and my observation, it appeared to be like fair exchange, no robbery. You got something, and what did I get? I got to meet people who were able to help me with psychedelics. I got to meet people who were able to teach me about Tantra. I got to be able to grow from those connections. I got to learn about shadow and integration. I did level up in terms of my personal growth, my spiritual growth. Absolutely. And he leveled up with followers. We saw that his followers were mostly men, and bringing on me presented more of a feminine aspect, and he got more women, more people who were family orientated. And so I was okay with that. I wasn't stressing it, and I was like, I'm out. I'm good. I never thought like he used me in a bad way. I always felt like, we were friends, we were buddies. I rock with you, you rock with me. Whatever you get out of your success, I'm happy for you. And I would want you to be happy for me. And so I moved on, and I stayed focused. I was minding my business. I was hoping that they would mind their own business, but they just couldn't. They couldn't help themselves, And like I said, a lot of that has to do with maturity also. People being immature. So a lot of times, people were acting like, some of these men were acting like complete asses. But I simply remained in observation mode, watching them act like a fool. Now, at times I was stern with the guy who was sending witchcraft. And in that sternness, I was like, I'm kicking you out of the chat and I'm blocking you. I didn't, curse or scream at him or anything like that. But I was just like, no, this is not going to be tolerated. But even now, I hold no animosity towards these men, although I know, I trigger them to this very day, till this very second, y'all. I know that I trigger them because I cause them to look at themselves, right? So how do I know this is because recently, I think it was maybe a month ago, I saw Dr. Melanie Stevenson, Dr. Alayla Africa, late Alayla Africa's wife. And I did a YouTube video, just a short, go out, get a reading with her. She's a beautiful person, blah, 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 blah. Right after that, Hank Rising Sun went to find her, and he's like, oh, we're bringing her on my YouTube channel. So this is what the thing what Hank Rising Sun was doing was, if anyone was on my YouTube channel from the conscious community that he knew, he would call them. And if he knew them well, he would convince them not to go on my channel and to support me. If he didn't know them well, he would just follow behind me and get them to go on his channel. I don't care. It's YouTube. I feel like anyone who needs to be promoted, who has something they want to say, they should be promoted. There should never be anything like, oh, I can't go on magnets, crystals, and pyramids because I'm on Journey to Bliss. It should never be that way. It should be like, I'm coming on both of your shows because you both have different audiences. And maybe I might say something on your show that I forget and I write it down, and I come on Hank Rising Sun show and I clear it up and say, hey, I need to add this because I forgot to say such and such on the other video. My mindset is not like that. I'm not trying to block anybody's success. That's not my mentality. So, but that began to be Hank Rising Sun's mentality. And so I moved on. My life is beautiful. I don't watch his social media. I don't watch any of their social medias. I don't know what they're doing. Often people will call me and tell me, oh, Bliss, you saw such and such. I'll be like, oh, okay. So that's how I was finding out that every time I had someone on my social media, he would find out because he watches my channel. And so he's watching these videos. And so he has not reached out to me because he knows what he has been doing. So people have been asking him, why haven't you reached out to Bliss? Why haven't you said anything? Why are you being quiet? Because they don't know what he was doing. They don't know the role that he was playing. And he doesn't know how to say it. And the thing about this is that the guy who was doing the spell work, they didn't know that I knew. I knew which spells they were doing. I knew who they were doing. I knew the main woman involved. I knew that she was an alcoholic. And then when someone called me and was like, yeah, this is her. This is her name. She is obsessed with you. She was arrested because she was drinking and driving and I was like, aha. But I already was getting the downloads and the spiritual messages. So I was getting downloads of what Hank Robinson was doing too. And people would call me to confirm afterwards. And I'll be like, you know what? It is what it is. As long as he's not trying to unalive me. Basically, that's the way I felt. And I was like, I'm gonna survive anyway. I'm gonna thrive. I'm gonna be okay. So I wasn't stressing it. So now, a little bit more about Hank Robinson. Right. So here we go. Hank Robinson and I were close, like two peas in a pod. We used to call the adults in the chat group that we had, we used to call them children. We used to call them our children. We came to an agreement that he would babysit the night shift and I would babysit the morning shift. Why? Because the people in the chat were immature. They were having knocked down, drawn out arguments and fights. I mean, people would leave the chat after arguing. Like we had to put out many fires. And sometimes the house burned down. Oh, well, we couldn't save them all. We couldn't save everyone. There was a lot of hate and jealous and envy in the chat. Some people were shy and friendly in the chat. Others would never like or comment, never ask questions, never share, just be kind of like dead in participation, not showing any love for their brethren. It was like, oh, well. But we used to have fun when we were managing the chat because it just was a lot of fun because there's a lot of stuff that we noticed that we were analyzing people that people didn't know. It's a lot of little tricks in the chat that people don't know that we knew about. And so we could see, oh yeah, we could see everything that was going on that y'all didn't know that we could see. You get my drift? Like the chat, when you're the manager of the chat, you can go to certain areas in the chat and you could see who's watching what's being posted, but don't say nothing. Don't comment, never like, never, so never share anything. But you would see the people on their own social media pages, liking and sharing and commenting. So you'd be like, okay, they just simply don't want to participate. So it used to be funny things like that going on. But people thought Hank Robinson and I were lovers. No one believed that a man and a woman could be that close. You believe that? This is the mindset of Black people. Broke mentality, failure to recognize a good friendship. That's all. And we were just really, really close friends. Now, I'm not the type to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Rising Sun and I had a lot of fun. We got along. People couldn't stand to see him happy. I didn't realize that until they started to expose themselves. And I would be like, why are these people so angry? What's wrong with them? And he would tell me, he'd be like, Bliss, they don't want me to be happy. And I was like, but we're just friends. Like they literally, I don't know what's wrong with those people who were around him. These people were not my friends, by the way. They were not, they weren't like visiting my house and chilling with me or nothing like that. They weren't having lunch with me or dinner with me. These people didn't have my phone number. These were supposedly like his friends. And, they just, they were jealous of our friendship. Yeah, they were really jealous of our friendship and they did not like it. And I was like, well, y'all some hateful son of a bang, 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 bangs up in here. Vicky, I tell you, let me tell you, child, we used to treat them people in the chat. We'd be like, sometimes I would wake up in the morning because I had the morning shift and it would be people going at it in the chat. And I'll be like, rising sun, get up. So-and-so is arguing in the chat and cursing and fighting. He'd be like, he come in the chat and discipline the children. Stop it, y'all. What is wrong with y'all? And then either they would leave the chat and call us later and just be angry at whoever they were arguing with. Or sometimes people would, tuck their tail under, because we pull in a coattail and they'll be like, oh, I apologize. I didn't mean to act that way. I don't know what's wrong with me. I used to be like, oh my goodness. Yo, managing the chat was like managing 1,000 children. Man, to have 1,000 children, first of all, is a blessing. But to manage that many, no. That's crazy. So, but yeah, so back to our relationship. So there were people who used to approach me and say negative things about Hank Rising Sun. They would say that he's mean, that, he did such and such to them. He backstabbed them, all this other stuff, negative stuff, mostly gossip. They would basically be gossiping and slandering his name because I believe they didn't want me to be around him. I don't know if that all of those people didn't want him to be happy, but I kind of believe they just didn't want me to be around him. I don't know if they felt like I was not safe around him or that eventually he was going to stab me in the back. I don't know. I didn't allow the conversation to go that far. I would simply tell them, thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate you telling me this. And I would file it away. And that's what I do. I just simply file it away. It is noted. I do not forget any freaking story or any freaking detail. Those who know me know this for a fact. So I just file it away and I appreciate them sharing it. But I don't live my life based off of other people's experiences. That's something that they experienced with him, and maybe it was bad, but then they were friends with him. So at some point they made up. They were back being buddies, or they kissed and made up. It was a woman telling me. Sometimes it was men and it was women. It was both parties who came to me to complain about what he had done to them in the past. But then they were there. They were not talking to him anymore. They were in his apartment, or at an event or something. So I'll be like, okay, why are you sharing this with me? So I never really tried to let them continue with that type of conversation because I felt like maybe they just needed to release it, and I allowed them to release it. And then, we would just move on and just have fun and do whatever we're doing. So that's one of the reasons why I got along with Hank Rising Sun. I wasn't judging him based off of gossip or slander that other people were telling me. And I've never done that with anyone. Whenever I'm with someone, I allow my relationship with that person to build, and I allow my relationship and my time and my energy with that person to decide if that person's for me and part of my journey. And maybe I might be with them for 2 months, 6 months, 6 years, the rest of my life, whatever it is. But I really try to avoid other people interjecting and involving their experience into my experience. So whenever I saw Hank Rising Sun getting ready to sabotage another friendship or something else, a situation with someone else, I encouraged him to do better. And his response was always, and I mean always, you're too nice, Bliss. You're sweet. It's not that I'm too nice. It's not that I'm too sweet. I'm simply always considering other people's feelings, especially if it's a misunderstanding. And it was a lot of times where things were just simply a misunderstanding, and then we just need to, to just talk it out. That's all. And that was a lot of times my perspective regarding certain people in certain situations in the conscious community. Now, of course, if the person is being malicious or mischievous, then no, they do not deserve the same treatment. And I'll be like, yeah, what? That person did what? And I know that person has a reputation of doing that. And I see that person doing that. And I know, and we've spoke to that person before and said, look, you can't, you got to straighten up. And they still, then all right, do what you got to do. So they obviously need to be taught a lesson. So with that said, I could see how it hurt when I abandoned ship. I could see how it would bother him. you know. But let me tell you the type of person that I am. Okay, a little bit of a story, guys. There was a woman in the conscious community who Rising Sun invited to my Tantra event. This was my Tantra event that I created, that I designed, that I wanted to do. And Hank Rising Sun was calling people and inviting them. And he put this lady on a four-way call with me, which is what he always did. He often would put me on a call with three-way, four-way, five people on the call, six people on the call, you know, and he'd sit back and listen to people talk on the call. So he put me on the call with the lady, and the lady was, you know, she kind of had the wrong idea about Tantra. A lot of people have the wrong idea about Tantra. Tantra is not simply sex. Yes, a great amount of it is sexual energy. However, Tantra is healing. It's not just bam, wham, thank you, ma'am. It's not Pound Town City, although Pound Town City is good. But it's a lot more than that, guys. If I'm able to see a being doing a Tantra session with a brother, that should tell you we're dealing with something deep, something heavy. It's not what you would like to think that it is. It's a lot more spiritual and magical than you can even imagine. And I encourage you to get yourself a Tantra session. um, so, you know, she came to the she had the wrong idea on the phone call. I could hear the way that she was talking. So I told Rising Sun, I said, I don't think it's a good idea if she attended, because it seems like she lacks knowledge. And so he invited her anyway, which is typical Rising Sun, because sometimes he get into the energy of he does what he wants to do and he's going to do it now. He doesn't care what anybody think. That's the fire in him. And that's one of the things that I admire the most about him, because there's a fire in me too. So, so we both be on fire at times. So anyway, he invited her, and I didn't know who this woman was. I never heard of her. I didn't know her reputation. So lo and behold, she shows up, and at the end of everything was recorded. So at the end of the video, you know, I left, I went home or whatever. Hank Rising Sun did the whole recording. He did the video. And so since she knew Hank Rising Sun, she was his friend, he invited her. She said, I don't want you to show the video because it's some embarrassing things on there, and I don't want it to get out into the conscious community because of who my father is. That's when I found out who this young lady was. And that's when I found out who her father was. And I was like, okay, so here's what we can do. We can find a person who can adjust the video. Maybe we can get somebody to cut it up and cut her up. Maybe we can get somebody to maybe blur it or something. You know, it's so many things you can do when someone doesn't want to consent to a video. Anyway, Hank Rising Sun, when I was on the phone with him, he seemed to be okay with the idea of us finding some type of, you know, videographer, somebody who could change the video. But as usual, when I leave him alone, he does something. So he released the video. Y'all, this woman was livid. She was so outspoken. She was gunning for the hills. I mean, woo, word got out on the street so fast. I was getting multiple phone calls because it was my Tantra event, but I didn't have control of the video. I didn't have the video at all. Hank Rising Sun had it. He released the video, and this young lady was pissed beyond pissed. I don't even know what to describe it. And I get it. I totally get it. I see where she was coming from. Like, I could totally relate. I empathize with her, because if I was in her shoes, you know, I would have been crying. I would have been nervous, you know, what my father. No, trust me, y'all. I never want anybody to feel that way, because it's really not a good feeling. So I call Hank Rising Sun because I'm getting all these phone calls. I'm getting all these text messages. I'm like, what did you do? What's going on? He's like, I released the video. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, you know, Bliss, you know, we did the video. I held it for 2 weeks. We couldn't find anybody to adjust the video. And so, you know, I just released it. And I was like, oh my God. And so that's when I found out that there was this group of people who were sort of like, I don't know, I guess you could call them like judges, or they were pretty important people. And they were gonna call like a judgment on Hank Risington in regards to the situation, because this woman was very, very outspoken. Um, she was brokenhearted. She was disappointed, and I was just like, oh my God. And how are we going to put out this fire? Because these people were going to shut Hank Risington down in terms of his business. And so he called me, and like, I could, like, when I went to see him, like, he was literally sweating. And I could see that he regret doing it. And I was like, oh God, this is the fire in you. Here we are. We're always in trouble. And so he asked me, he said, Bliss, I need you to, when these men call, when judgment come, I need you to admit that this is your video. I was like, of course I would admit it. Why would I leave you hanging, holding a bag? What kind of person do you think I am? I said, I have no problem. Give them my phone number. I will give a testimony. This is my creation. This is my video. This is my idea. This is what happened, and this is the truth. I said, but I also have to be honest. You had control of the video. The release was your decision. And I said, so we gotta be honest here. I said, I have no issue with holding accountability on my end. And if she wanted to, I didn't want to destroy the video, but if she wanted to completely destroy the video, I was actually okay with that, because it really, really bothered her. And so I stood by his side. I was like, what you need? I got you. Like, I'm going to be honest. He wanted me to also testify that some of the things that she said on the phone was inappropriate. And I was like, oh yeah, I got you on that. I was a witness to that, because I knew that she did not know Tantra. And some of the things that she was saying on the phone was inappropriate. So I could testify to that. But the thing is that he didn't even have to ask me, guys, because that's how loyal I am, And so it all worked out. He walked away and brushed off his shoulders. He wasn't sweating, and it was good. She never really, I don't think she ever spoke to him. I mean, I don't know her, I don't have a phone number, but it would be nice if I had her tell her own story, because I don't like telling other people's story like this when I don't have all of the intricate details, because she'd known Hank Risington for many, 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 many years. And so she had told this organization who was going to judge him that he was sexually harassing her. And so that would mean that, there's more information that I'm not privy to. I can only speak about the 2 times that I met her. One time was via the phone on a conversation, and the second time was in person. Other than that, she was speaking about other incidents where she felt like he was inappropriate sexually towards her. And I couldn't speak on that. But I was like, I got your back regarding the 2 other things, and that's all I can do. But that's the type of person that I am. But the bottom line is that I would never, never, ever do to these men what they did to me. I just never would. It's not in my, I guess you would say it's not in my DNA. It's just not something I would do. So, yeah, so that was a heavy situation right there that we got over, and he got over, and he had closure. Okay, so now, moving forward, I'm trying to figure out here, how do I get this to appear? What is going on here? I don't know. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next part. So who else was involved, right? Since we have more players involved in this situation. So other players in the game of my life, who else participated in the act of trying to blackball me and ostracize me, or simply tried to take advantage of me in some way, some form, or some manner. Yes, there was more players involved. They were not as intricately involved, heavily involved, but they played a role. They simply played a role. So who were these other men? Let's start with the first guy who I got a little story to tell you about him, but it's Ifukunle. Ifukunle wrote a book titled Bliss. I do not have a friendship with Ifukunle. I barely know this man. The first time I met him, we got into an argument. Dr. Phil Valentine would be another person. I've never had an argument with Dr. Phil Valentine. Um, Never had a disagreement, never had a misunderstanding. He actually helped me with some things in my life. Dr. Love. Dr. Love was on my channel and he called me and said that I can't go on your channel anymore because moving forward, I'm going to go on Hank Risenson's channel. Sheikh Sufi, he was on my channel. And after that, he sort of made the decision that he couldn't go on my channel anymore. So it was this mindset where Hank Risenson was kind of having a mentality that these are my friends. These are not your friends. You're not going to grow your YouTube channel with my friends. And I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I ain't stressing it. Again, as long as you're not trying to take my life, I'm good. So people would see who I am and what I am and how I rock. So I wasn't stressing it. So you've seen me on YouTube with these men. 3 of the men, you've seen me on Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. And 2 of the men came on my channel. One of the men agreed to come on my channel, but when he spoke to Hank Risenson, he changed his mind. Ifukunle had never been on my channel and never probably will. 3 of them, like I said, agreed to come on my channel. 3 of them liked me until Hank Risenson told his side of the story. 3 of them never bothered to resolve any issues or disputes or misunderstandings between Risenson and I. 3 of them never looked to know my side of the story. 2 of them ignored me after agreeing to come on my channel or was talking to me before that. They just stopped responding, abandoned ship, just like I did to Hank Risenson. Just like they didn't block me, but they just stopped responding. And I could see that they were reading the text messages because, I would get the read notification, but they chose to ignore me. And I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. Only Dr. Love, who was on my channel one time, but he called me. He was honest with me. He's like, Bliss, I can't come on your channel anymore. I'm going to go on Hank Risenson's channel. And it was sort of this thing where it was like, either I come on your channel or I go on his. I can't be on both channels. And I was like, okay, this is an interesting mindset for people who are healers. And then I heard through the grapevine that he did the same with Phil Valentine and with Sheikh Sufi. Now, Phil Valentine, like I said, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Phil Valentine helped me with the situation at my job at the law firm where he literally helped me keep my job. He prepared documents for me. He gave me guidance. He gave me advice. I paid him for that advice. And it was very successful. I was scared I was going to lose my job at the law firm, but he helped me. So, and then that was that. So he agreed to come on my channel, but then he never came on. So I don't sweat it. If people want to have the mentality that, to me, it's kind of like 6th or 7th grade. My friends, like, you can't have my friends. You can't be around me. He say, she say, that kind of thing. So when it comes to Ifukunle, I would have to say that there was one situation, and this situation was the last straw about why I actually left, and I blocked Hank Risenson. He snuck Ifukunle on a YouTube with me. Now, when I first met Ifukunle, the reason we got into an argument was because Ifukunle did a stock trade, and he made a big mistake. And so my first time meeting him, I'm trying to help him. I was like, oh yeah, so this is this trade. This is why. And he got mad and he got aggressive towards me. And I was like, got aggressive back with you. I was like, you don't want to know, screw you. Maybe lose all your money. I don't care. You know? And so Ifakunle got mad and he left Hank Risen's apartment. Hank Risen was laughing. He was like, oh, you say Ifakunle running out the apartment. Look at him. Da, da, da. He was laughing. I was just like, wait, what? Like, I was like, I don't know what's wrong with that guy. I wasn't trying to, hurt him. I was just trying to give him guidance and advice regarding what I knew. But I realized that a lot of these men don't want smart women. They don't want intelligent women. They don't want women to speak up. They don't want women who want to protect themselves. They want to be in control of everything. They want you literally to be sort of like not active, sort of very, very submissive. So when he brought, and then there was another situation. So I figured I'd stay away from Ifakunle. That was my goal. So there was a situation where I was doing ceremonies at Hank Risen's house. And we would announce the ceremonies. People would pay to get in. And Ifakunle showed up at the door, unannounced, not paying, thinking he was going to get into the apartment. And Hank Risen's would meet him at the door, be like, what are you doing here? You know Bliss is doing such and such and such at the ceremony. You know you're not supposed to be here. You don't rock with her like that, And he would send Ifakunle away packing. So I say this to say that he knew Ifakunle. This man had no love for me, no grace for me. He don't like me. I don't. Whatever it is, I don't care. But the last straw was when Hank Risen's snuck this man on YouTube with me, and then this man was trying to say things on YouTube to try to antagonize me, to try to make me angry, to try to make me just go ballistic. And I said, oh, now this is, meanwhile, Knucklehead is doing all the spell work. He's still continuing because this was 2 years straight, nonstop with the spell work. So I'm like, I said, okay, that's what he's doing. I said, and so Hank Risen's shared a story with Ifakunle that I did not share with Ifakunle. I don't talk to Ifakunle. I don't have his phone number. I don't do nothing with this man. And here he is on YouTube, worldwide, sharing a story that is mine. And I'm like, huh. I said, okay, that's what we doing? I said, okay, I got you. I see you. And when I got off that show, blocked. I was donezo for the gunzo. That was the last straw. And so he always told me that Ifakunle was jealous of him. I just didn't see the sense in keeping someone around you if you feel that person is jealous of your friendship with me. It just wasn't logical to me. But the light bulb went off when he brought him on YouTube. And this man wrote a book called Bliss and then tried to act like I was affiliated with the book or had something to do with the book. This man purposely wrote a book titled Bliss just to take a dig at me, just to come at me. So I was like, I'm good. You can keep your little book. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't rock with you. I ain't friends with you. You know, I'm good. So I was like, oh, well, I can't force any of these men to talk to me, to like me. They're clearly not interested in hearing my side of the story, or maybe they thought that if they all came against me, I would give up or give in, or I don't know, submit, whatever it is. I honestly don't know. I've never had an argument or disagreement with Phil Valentine. I've never had an argument or disagreement with Dr. Love. I've never had an argument or disagreement with Sheikh Sufi. So I move on. No love lies, no love lost. That's their decision. They're grown men. Remember, I'm only doing these videos because of the unalive spells. Yes. People began to ask questions regarding the men that I was on YouTube with. And so here we are. They were like, well, if this guy is attacking you, he's gunning for you like this, he's doing all these things, where are all the men who claim that they love women and they protect women? Why aren't they doing anything for you? And, they've been with you on YouTube. They always talk about protecting the children, protecting the women, and we need to do this. And I was like, all right, now I got to tell the whole story. I got to tell the full story. I can't leave anything out, because what's happening is that more and more questions are coming out, all because these people tried to end my life. And so I had to speak about that, and then it turned into something else. And then somebody gave me information about the woman, and then boom, boom, boom. And so this is everything. This is the longest video I've ever done on my own, by the way, because I never really intend to talk this long on videos, and I have someone who's waiting for me patiently. So that's my dealings with these guys here, who didn't show any love for me, who didn't support me, who didn't want to cultivate me based off of what Hank Robinson told them. But before that, I was already getting agitated, because there was an event. It was called the Feminine Forecast, and this was an event where I had to coordinate Queen Afua, Diana Farr, Dr. G, Mother Kai, and these women are busy. When I tell you they calendar, Queen Afua literally had one day where she could go on YouTube to do the Feminine Forecast, which was the prediction of the year that was coming up. And so I was talking to these women, getting the time, getting the date, this schedule, and then I'm working a full-time job. I got a family, I got businesses on the side, and I'm trying to coordinate this whole event. But Hank Robinson was getting more and more angry. I kid you not. The event was on a Sunday. On Saturday, Hank Robinson says, I can't do the event. I was like, but this is the Feminine Forecast for the next year. Here we are in December. Queen Afua is traveling the world. She's not going to be available. Dr. G is like, everybody's busy. I can't do this schedule again. And it took me 2 weeks to get these ladies all in there on one day, at one time. And I was like, what are you talking about? What is it that you have to do? And he said to me, oh, I got to go to Nicola's store, and I'm going to be there, like I'm there every Sunday. And I was like, wait, what? I've seen you cancel going to Nicola's store on a Sunday to do other events. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on here. But this is him, being controlling, being mean, being angry for no reason. And I was just like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm going to do the event anyway, and I'll do it on my YouTube channel. I ain't stressing it. That is when my followers jumped from 300 to 600. It was because these women that came on my YouTube channel, and my followers doubled. So I have to give those women the credit. And so, and shout out to Queen Afua and Diana Farr, who came on my YouTube channel multiple times after that. And so that was one of the things. So it was things that was agitating the relationship, that I was becoming more and more fed up, And before that, there was concerning conversations about people in the conscious community doing inappropriate things like stealing money. People doing spells on each other. Not spells on me or Hank Robinson, but there were other people shooting it, at each other for reasons of jealousy, reasons of envy, reasons of wanting someone's man. And I was just like, what in all of, and this is before I even knew that this guy was throwing any of these spells at me. I was watching someone else get it done to them. And I saw it on them. And so I saw people tearing up other people in the conscious community now, tearing up other people's houses. And when I say tearing up, I'm talking about people spreading feces on people's walls, people knocking down other people's spiritual altars. And these, I gotta breathe, y'all. These were people that we were promoting on our YouTube channel. So at one point, Hank Robinson and I had combined our channels. So whatever was on magnets, crystals, and pyramids would automatically appear on Journey to Bliss. And I was concerned. I was like, whoa, I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. We need to pull these people coattails. We need to have a conversation. Even one guy, we got phone calls with one guy that was promoted on the channel was scamming people for money. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sick to my stomach, because I own businesses, and I know about building a brand, and I know about having a certain type of reputation in the community. And I was like, this is not good, because these people were promoted on the channel and traveling all over the United States, and they were doing different things that were reported back to us. And these people, no one was gossiping about them or slandering their name. And how do you know this? It's because the people who complained about them in Georgia, did not know the people in Washington, D.C., did not know the people in New Jersey, did not know the people in New York. None of these people in any of these states knew each other. So it's not like they were gathering to come against them. These stories were all very similar. Multiple stories of, the things that these people were doing. And I was like, I cannot go on YouTube with these people. You can do them on your channel if you want. I'm okay chilling on the side. I'm good, because a lot of things he wasn't willing to address. And, people were calling me because some people have my phone number. They was like, yo, Bless, this person's doing such and such and such, and they did such and such and such. And I felt like a conversation should be had as our brands are attached to these things. And it just didn't sit well with me in terms of like what we are supposed to be in terms of a community. But a lot of these things Rising Sun didn't want to address. So I don't know. I guess he just figured people would be people, or maybe he was used to it because these were a lot of people that he knew. These were not people that I personally knew. Actually, if they were people that I knew, I probably wouldn't have been around them. But these are people that he knew. There was even one situation where the guy who was collecting money from people, and he was on the channel and he was using that. And the people started complaining. And I was like, yo, why don't we just inquire, what's going on? And so when I asked the guy, I was on a 3-way call, which Hank Rising is known for doing 3-way calls, 4-way calls, 5-way calls, whoever can get on a call. And I inquired about the money that this guy was collecting. And y'all, let me tell you, this man cussed me out. He cussed me out. He threatened me. And I cussed him back out. I was like, who do you think you're talking to? What is wrong with you? And so we hung up, right? Hank Rising called him back separately. Then he called me back separately. And he told me, oh, I smoothed it out. Everything is good, And I was like, I cannot go on YouTube with that man anymore. Lo and behold, guess what this man did? This man got on YouTube on a live and cussed a woman out. A woman called to, I don't know, I think she was speaking about something in her life and, she wanted some guidance or assistance or whatever. And he cussed that woman out. He threatened that woman too. And I was like, aha. So this is who you really are, So it was all of these situations that were piling up and I couldn't take it anymore. All of these things conveniently happening while this knucklehead is shooting out his spell work, his Obia, his Santeria, his rituals, he's going hard, with his little coven, his little dream spell crew, his warlocks and witches, and I just was like, I don't rock with that type of stuff. It was just a lot of things that, I don't know why people were acting that way, to be honest with you. I don't know if people were acting that way before I came on the YouTube channel. I just know that I felt like it was an unhealthy way to promote business. And it was an unhealthy environment that was brewing and cooking. And I felt like Hank Rising Sun, being as popular as he was and using his authority, could definitely put people in his place, because I saw him do this before. I've seen him do it. I've seen people just shut up and bow down and just whatever he says. Maybe that's why he's surprised that I never did it. But I don't roll like that. Like, I'm not going to shut up and bow down because you're doing something inappropriate. No, absolutely not. You either fall in line and act right, or I'm out. I'm deuces. So I found new people, a better environment, stronger supporters, more powerful people who wanted to cultivate me, people who cared about my well-being, good partners, strong partnerships, and I'm good. I'm happy, so I always tell people to make sure, to do their divination work to find out what I'm saying, if it's true, because I don't want you to think I'm up here just blowing hot air. So go ahead and do your divination work, and figure out for yourself what's going on. I want to give a special shout out to people who have supported me. The brother, Izor, Tima, the brother Shaka, who is a student of Dr. Love and his lady, Blue Pill and Red Pill. I also want to give a shout out to Oyi Son, Sifu Oyi Son. I want to give a shout out to brother Dooley. Love you, brother Dooley. I want to give a shout out to Sincere Seven. I want to give a shout out to the sister Rain, the strong Bruja. Yes. So every now and then over time, I would run into various people from the conscious community, and these people would show me love. They would hug me. They would do a video with me or photo with me, show me their product. They would be very professional. They would say, Bliss, this is what I'm promoting. I want to, sell this and I'm selling that. This is how it works. They would be genuine with me. They would be real. They didn't seem to care about the gossip spreading about me. And I know they knew about the gossip because everybody was talking about it and other people were calling me. But these people, they was just like, yo, what's going on with business? How are we healing the community? What are we doing? What do you need, Bliss? Do you need assistance with anything? Do you need support with anything? Do you need guidance with anything, Bliss? I rock with you. I support you. Some of them bossed up and called me and said, I support you. I cultivate you. I love you. And I care. Keep going. I rock with you. Don't worry. You're beautiful. You're a good person. Stay strong. Like, y'all, these people are the people that made me cry. Because they were doing what the older people in the conscious community was supposed to do. Like, these are the younger guys. Well, except for Brother Iso, he's older. But everyone else was, they're not really that as popular, but they showed me love and they showed me respect. And they was like, what do you need? And like, these are the people that made me cry. I was like, wow. As you guys know, Brother Dooley came on my channel. Sincere came on my channel. I'm emotional right now. Only because the level of love that I receive from some people. There are people in the conscious community who do not know Hank Rising Sun, but have called me with support. There are people who, reached out to me and they just simply showed love. These are the people. The reason I'm showing the photos of these people is because these are the people who Hank Rising Sun has their phone number. Hank Rising Sun still speaks to some of these people, but yet they still showed me love when they saw me. They were still mature. They were all about the business. They were all about the progress of the community. They didn't contribute towards this business of trying to ostracize me, trying to make me feel abandoned, trying to make me feel alone, trying to blackball me. They weren't like that. So, I got to give props to them. As promised, brothers and sisters, I did agree to show you these women who are the married Philly whores. I never met this woman and have no idea who she is or why she's stalking me, but supposedly she's with this guy who's stalking me. I have no idea who these women are either, but they're supposed to be part of the coven who were doing witchcraft and spells towards me. She reached this young lady right here, the one that says, I'm ready to end it all, who doesn't want to live. She is the one who reached out to me first. Now she deleted all her messages. See, she's trying to delete all her messages. And I was like, oh, this is so interesting. Shout out to the brother Pernue. He was there as my witness when she started sending me these videos and these messages, threatening me and all these things. And I'm just like, who is this? I totally forgot that I did a small spell, a small spell where it was a reveal spell, because I knew this guy was working with a woman. I just didn't know who the woman was. And I still don't know who she is. Ain't never met none of these women a day in my life. And I was like, just show me. Who is this woman? And the brotherpreneur came over for a tantra session, and boom, she starts sending me messages. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, what's going on? Who's this? I totally forgot about the spell. And so I saw that she was from Philadelphia. I saw that, she was commenting about this guy, and she was saying that she was a witch. And I was like, why are you reaching out to me, sending me these threats? And I was like, oh, this is the woman. And then she sends me photos of the other women. I mean, if I was down with her, I would have cussed her out. Because I was like, you're gonna sacrifice yourself. Don't send me. But she sent all three of the women. So this opened up my eyes a lot, because I don't know these women. I've never met them a day in my life. And I'm like, what exactly is going on here? What is wrong with you? And, I agreed to show you guys who was messaging me. And like anybody who's trying to get away with anything that they ain't got no business doing, they tried to remove she tried to remove the videos that she was sending me. So it is what it is. So I'm trying to put a photo up, and I cannot get this photo to come up. All right, let me see if I remove the video, and let me see if I can get the photo to come up. Let's see. Nope, I cannot. Oh, there you go. I don't know why it wouldn't come up, but there it is. So guys, this is Hank Raz & Son, and this is Sunstar. Sunstar is the guy that has been sending spell work my way, who has been stalking me and harassing me for 2 years. Well, he's not doing it anymore, but he was. So I was trying to get the photo up and I couldn't get it up, but there it is. So guys, I didn't mean for this live to be this long. This is over. I'm done. I want to wish you guys a beautiful night. I never say to anyone, share, but tonight I'm going to say share. And I want you to share the previous videos. So share so that people are informed. I don't care moving forward what happens, but I think people should be aware. And I think maybe they should have a conversation. I doubt if they would, but it is what it is, y'all. I'm moving on. My life is beautiful. I have great partnerships and great friendships, and I adore you guys. I thank you guys for listening. And do your divination. Yes, because I want everyone to look and see if I'm telling the truth. I want you to guys just do your divination work. Look and see, is Miss Bliss lying, or is she embellishing the story, or is she telling the truth? So I want to bid you all good night and farewell. I love you, and I hope to see you on the next live. I got a couple of people who have been reaching out to me who want to come on the channel, and so I got to try to coordinate that in between all of the other things I got going on in my life. So yes, I look forward to seeing you guys another night. Have a beautiful night. Love you. Mwah.